Hello and welcome. This is AlchemistExe. Today I am launching a series called New Player Questions. This came about because I got together with a friend of mine who's a relatively new player, and I asked what kind of questions he had about the game, like as far as progressing and raising characters and how certain systems work. So this series is an attempt to answer those questions. So the first question that was asked is, how do I make my character stronger? So to answer that, you would have to say you want to increase their levels, both their main levels and their job levels, with the end goal being to have them the highest level you can get them, and then with all jobs mastered, and then any jobs that you plan on using further enhanced. So there are several steps to that. It's not like a linear level progression that is seen most often in RPG games. In this case, we have it's a multi-step system. Anyone who's familiar with any class-based RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre will have a little more familiarity here, but even then, it's not a perfectly direct transition. So let's scroll over to a character whose jobs I don't have mastered because that'll make it easier to observe. Alright, here we've got Dessel. And as we can see here, he's 64 out of 85. So if I raise him to 85, he'll gain some stats. But it would not be nearly as meaningful as if I took his mage job and then mastered that. And then, I presumably want to get the job enhancement after that as well, but that's not really necessary for the purpose of this video. So let's just raise him up one job level. Here we go. And bam, he got a little bit of a stat bonus. Now it starts out slower and it gets noticeably larger as the levels are gained. Now one thing to note here is that when we're looking at a character's stats relative to their job level, it's not going to carry over if I was to say switch him over to chemist. But what would carry over is if I was to master all three of his jobs and get the mastery bonuses. Those are just an across the board stat increase that varies based on job to job. So yeah, that is everything when it comes to leveling basics. Alright, now the next thing on the list was how to raise a character's level. Because if you're looking at my little array of units here that I haven't raised at all, you'll notice that they all have different max levels. And what level they're able to get to is a function of how limit broken they are, which is just a way of saying how many shards have you consumed on this character. So in the case of, say, let's look at Dark Longinus. I haven't invested any shards into her. And if we click the limit break button here, you'll notice I have 61 character shards of hers, and then a whole bunch of water shards and some rainbow shards. Now, the way that I decide, and almost any veteran player decides, it's almost like an unwritten rule, or in some cases on Reddit, a literally written rule, that you should never use character soul shards for a limited unit. And then conversely, you should never use elemental or rainbow shards on a regular, farmable unit. So as we can see here, there's no quest that shows up to farm Dark Longinus shards. So if I want to get her max limit breaked, then it's going to have to be these water shards, which I am not going to do because there's a water unit I am saving for in the future who rides a crazy edgy horse. But yeah, let's pick another water unit here. So Kevin is not farmable yet, but he will become farmable. So when his hard quest does arrive, then that's when I would want to start pumping shards into him. But I can't really do much with him yet anyway, so I'm not going to. So the goal is to get the character to max limit break, and that's gonna look like all these post 85 people. They're all max limit broken. Let's go to my boy Soul here. And so he is already done. Can't do it anymore. And that is the goal. And then once you get there, that's when you would want to enlighten. But enlightening is a whole other thing, and it's really not really for new players. So we're not going to worry about that right now. But yeah, that is it for limit breaking. All right. So in closing, I just want to say that the best thing that you can do as a new player trying to get your characters like leveled up and get all the pieces that you need is just try and plow through story mode as fast as you can, because that will open the door to new character shards for limit breaking and new item pieces for job leveling up. Like, say, this guy here could use a few more swords hypothetically, and then bam, look at all of these options. I'm going to pick the one that just has the highest chance of dropping the sword piece because there's only two options. And then, just go to town. This is what skip tickets are for. Rinse and repeat like a million times, and you'll have some maxed out characters. Alright, well, good luck, fellow alchemists, and I will see you next time.